a big shame for Russian Navy, large advantages for our air defense and huge risks from American selection to Ukraine. About all these things we will discuss during nearest 25 minutes. And my name is Ira Uzlova, and together with me today is Michael Sheitelman, political strategist. Michael, glad to see you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Aaron.
So it happened. We have been waiting during a lot of months and even more years for this event. And yesterday, our president of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, showed the aircraft and talked to us that Ukraine has received the first American F16 fighter jets. They are here in Ukraine. According to The Economist, we have near 10 F16s, but we understand that we cannot say here direct accounts of this because of Russian aggressions. But now we see that F16s are with us, and it will be more and more F16s in Ukraine during this year, near 20 fighter jets until the end of this year, and then next year we will see near 80 fighter jets here. So, Michael, how do you think, how much undermine the emotional and psychological state of the Russian commanders and of the Russian occupation army in general, such news about F-16s? Do they feel scared?
10 F-16 is not enough to scare a huge Russian army, which were a second army, at least at the beginning of the war. Because almost nobody from Russian soldiers will personally meet F-16. But they will meet the missiles from F-16.
Yes.
They will don't know that the missiles were from HIMARS, multi-launch rocket system, which was ground system, or is it from F-16. But what is good for us now, it is very practical, it is not emotional, it is very practical. Because Russia now has one of Russia's strategy is to destroy our infrastructure. First of all, energetic infrastructure. And F-16, they started working last week, not just from yesterday, but last week. And F-16 is a multi-role fighter aircraft. So they also can not only bomb Russian position, but they can also fall down Russian rockets and Russian drones. And that they did last week, when they fall down 89 drones out of 89. It was the first huge Russian attack of 89 drones, and all 89 drones were fall down. And Russians probably stopped the missile attack. When they saw that we use F-16, they stopped the missile attack from Caspian Sea.
Yes, from 295, they go away.
Yeah, exactly. They go away without launching missiles. Because they saw that it is useless, it is senseless, to launch missiles in this situation, because every Russian cruise missile costs something like $10 million, and you shoot something like 20 missiles with total cost of $200 million, but 10 F-16, they can fall down each of these missiles. So it was a huge success, the first success of this kind in the sky of Ukraine. So that is great news. Emotionally, 10 F-16 is not enough, but 80 F-16, which were promised us in next year, at least we know that Denmark and Holland, they promised us 42 or something like that, plus Norway 20 F-16, and plus Belgium something like 12, and some Americans. We don't know exact numbers, but in our security agreement with United States, which was signed last May, so they saw that certainly United States will bring us F-16. So it will be large fleet of F-16. Our main problem now is pilots. As far as I know, the problem is not F-16 itself, but pilots. We don't have enough.
And technical personnel and their language, because for F-16s they need to know specific English version of language to keep in order this fighter jets and make it more useful. So
No, but we found the decision for that, solution for that from technical personnel, because in last speeches also Biden or somebody from official representative of Pentagon, they said that technical personnel will work in Poland, in Romania, and it will be a NATO technical personnel. So we don't need so much technical personnel. All last articles about this issue, they say that the most complicated issues with F-16 technical personnel will be NATO, not Ukrainian. So we will send just these fighter bombers to Romania or to Poland or to some other states, NATO states, for technical reasons. So we need mostly pilots, yeah.
Okay, it will really cut time to prepare such technical personnel, so it will be good. You reminded me about such missiles which can be used with F-16s, and there are a lot of variants really which can be contained each other. But again we turn to question about Biden administration and about how they really determined and strong to make such decision to give us more and more missiles for these F-16s. And last weekends I read an article by Timothy Snyder, American historical person and professor, and he said that now Joe Biden had only one job. Earlier he had two jobs, like president and candidate for president, but now he has only one job, to be president. So he has more time to help Ukraine, for example, Ukraine, Middle East, and such question. So can we say that during this 6 months until January, until new administration will come to White House, Joe Biden will be stronger and will show for Russian occupation army, for Putin and for us, that he can give us more missiles for F-16s, more allows to F-16s to strike targets deeper in Russia Federation, for example?
Okay, first result we have immediately, because all the American newspaper, Wall Street Journal, they reported that they have a decision by Mr. Biden to provide air-to-air missiles and air-to-ground missiles for F-16, because our European partners who provide us bombers, they had this problem. They didn't know what to do because they have very limited storage of these missiles, yeah. And now we have a new decision from Pentagon. It is very fresh. It is just from last week about these missiles, and it will be enough till at least till the end of this year. Yeah. So at first we have this, but we also have potentially two, let's say, new stages of how they call that. Usually escalation, new stages of escalation of this war with Russia. First is that you mentioned permission to hit Russian territory and deep to Russian territory, and to hit with middle-range missiles, ground missiles, I mean, like ATACMS, for example. And we need that to hit airfields inside Russia, airfields and storage inside Russia. Because now we have a permission only for HIMARS, which is multi-launch ground systems, which has a range of 95 kilometers, and with ATACMS we will have 300 kilometers, and we need that for tactical aviation, to dismiss Russian tactical aviation. We use these ATACMS, for example, in Crimea Peninsula. Crimea Peninsula is Ukrainian territory by international law. Yes. So we hit, for example, last weekend, we hit, it was a week ago, we hit Russian airfield with Russian air fighters in Crimea, deep, but with ATACMS. So we need to make the same to Russian territory, to Rostov district, Krasnodar district. But we don't have a permission from Mr. Biden administration. But what we will have in the next 3 months? So today, when we organized this interview, it is exactly 3 months before general election in the United States, November 5.
Yep.
So what happens? We will have, we will see 2 different campaigns: Mr. Biden campaign, no, not Mr. Biden, Kamala Harris campaign, and Mr. Trump campaign. And one of the competitions will be who is the tough guy in this pair. No, really. Who is the tough guy? Today, obviously, Mr. Trump is tough guy, not Kamala Harris. But what Kamala Harris could do in this campaign, he could use this fact that she has Mr. Biden as a weapon, as a tool of this campaign. Yes. And Mr. Biden could make this work to make Kamala Harris tough guy. By his decision, for example, the decision to give us permission, to give to Ukraine permission to hit inside Russian territory. It will say, oh, Kamala Harris is a strong woman. Because Mr. Biden and Kamala Harris, now it is the same team. And the next decision that we need really, and Mr. Zelensky, President of Ukraine, started speaking about that last weekend. After he presented F16, he said, okay, now next stage, we ask NATO to shoot Russian missiles on the sky of Ukraine.
Yes.
By international law, it is not banned, because it is our airspace, and we have this is our, like, everything which we see in our space, this is our. This is not Russian, this is our. Because they don't have a permission to fly in our sky, yeah? So from formal point of view, it is by international law, it is allowed by international law. And the only, let's say, the last barrier, it is the barrier in the head of Mr. Biden and Mr. Scholz, let's say, because counter missile weapon we have mostly from German, sometimes Norway, but mostly German and United States. So if they are ready to cross this red line, so this could be the decision of just 2 people in the world, Mr. Biden and Mr. Scholz.
And you know, Kamala Harris and Biden together, they can do this secret decision underground to allow us, to give us permission to strike targets on Russian territory, and even nobody except Russian then in future don't know about it. Can they do it underground and in secret way or no? You
know, Aaron, you were right. If you were say this a year ago, for example. But now, why? Because now they need how more public, the more good for them, you know, the better for them.
Well, and why?
Yeah.
For our viewers.
Because this obviously it will be the part of election campaign. And when you are in election campaign, you need public steps, not secret steps. All the secrets, they are in our past, not in the future. Next 3 months will be the 3 months of public steps, public decisions. So everything will go public. They need it. Yeah, they don't need some secret operation now.
And they can sing a song, I can live without you, I'm strong enough, and live without Putin. So it will be like a winner song for them, I think. But we can see it in few maybe days or weeks, I suppose.
By whom this song is? By Madonna or by what? By Mr. Pugacheva?
No.
I don't remember.
No, it's Cher. I'm strong enough to live without you, to live without Putin. And so I believe that they're strong enough. But we speak about red lines, red flags, and Russia wanted, Kremlin regime wanted to present F-16s like, again, like red line for them, and they said, Peskov said a lot of times that it will be red lines, but Russian propaganda and their military correspondents, their future prisoners of Gaga, they nowadays try to show that F-16s are weak and it is not dangerous objects for them. So, like, they go different ways, Putin and Russian propaganda. But these red lines, for what they can use it to remind for our Western partners, try to undermine our future help and packages from Western allies. Red lines, are they alive or no?
Okay. First of all, why we are going to different ways? I mean, Russian propaganda and Putin's position or political position. Because they speak about two different roles of F-16. F-16, it is not only jet, not only fighter. From technical point of view, it is jet, fighter, 10 jets. Is it big enough? It is a big number? Not. This is not big number. So propaganda is right, really, at this stage. 10 jets is not enough for this huge war, for the biggest war in 21st century, for the biggest war in Europe after World War II. Yeah? So propaganda is right. But politically, F-16 is political tool, not only technical, not only war tool. What it means from political point of view, this F-16? F-16 is platform, is war platform. This is official platform of NATO. And when F-16 arrives, it doesn't mean that just 2 machines arrived or 10 machines arrived. It means that Ukraine were integrated, connected to NATO system of war, to NATO system of, let's say, managing war, yeah? And we are now technically, let's say, 80% integrated to NATO system after we received this F-16. Because when we receive, for example, tank is just separate machine, just one tool, yeah? You can use it here or here. You don't need a lot of data for this. You don't need a lot of connection for this tank. But this F-16, it doesn't work itself. It's connected by radio waves with, for example, with all the I don't know, the huge planes, you know, huge American planes. I don't remember these names, with radar, with huge radars, yeah?
Like stations special for it. Special stations with radar for it.
Yeah, exactly. So it also connected to this. And it is also connected to databases. And so this is just one integrated part. And from now, our engineers, our pilots, they are also part of this system. So we are now huge part of NATO army. And you can't disintegrate that. Yeah. So Mr. Putin started, when Mr. Putin started this war, so he had a number of goals. One of goals was not to allow us to be part of NATO. Yes. But now, in fact, we are part of NATO. Because of this, only because of this F-16. With tanks, we were not part of NATO. But with F-16, yes. You just can't throw it out. Yeah. You cannot disintegrate it. You cannot cut us from this technology. We now a part of this technology. And it will grow and grow and grow. With each other F-16, we have more and more be integrated to this system. So politically, this is a red line. Because in fact, we say, okay, from military point of view, we are NATO member. Yeah, we are not NATO member from formal point of view, for example, from anti-corruption point of view, yeah? But from military, yes. So it was very important for Mr. Putin's regime. But why this red line didn't stop Mr. Biden, or didn't stop Danish Prime Minister, or Norway Prime Minister, or
Netherlands.
Netherlands, yeah, Prime Minister. Because they know that after this red line stays only one threat. Only one. This is nuclear threat. Russia doesn't have any other threats. At the beginning of the war, it has a lot of red lines and a lot of threats, potential threats. Like, okay, if you supply to Ukraine artillery, for example, then we will start bombing Odessa, for example. Or we will cut the trade ways in the Black Sea, for example. Yeah. But now, Russians, they did everything. They did everything. They realized all the threats, all the potential threats. They destroyed cities in Ukraine. Huge cities, yeah. They destroyed, for example, totally destroyed Bakhmut, which had 70,000 people population. And they totally destroyed each building.
Yes.
And they destroyed more big Ukrainian cities. And they killed hundreds of thousands of people. Hundreds of thousands, including civil population, I mean.
These civilians.
They kidnapped tens of thousands of children, of Ukrainian children. They kidnapped. And this is official information. This is not rumors. This is official information because of this problem, because of this crime, we have the warrant order from International Criminal Court in Hague towards Mr. Putin and towards his team. So they did everything. Oh, they destroyed, last month, they destroyed the biggest children hospital in Europe. Ahmadiyed, Kyiv Children's Hospital was the biggest children's hospital in Europe, and they destroyed that. And at the same day, they destroyed also maternity hospital in Kyiv. At the same day. So what is the next they could do? We also mobilized 300,000 personnel, 300,000 civil people in Russia. We did a mobilization. It was also red line, mobilization.
Yes.
And they hired more than 500,000 by contracts, military contracts. And they paid $24,000 for contract to the army, for the volunteers. If you volunteer to Russian army, for example, now, you receive immediately $24,000, which is huge money for Russia. So they just did everything. So the next step is nuclear weapon. But nuclear weapon, it is the last step, obviously. If you use nuclear weapon, I mean Russia use nuclear weapon, so in 1 or 2 days, we will not see any Russia on the map or on the globe. Mm-hmm. And everybody knows that. I can't say that nuclear threat is not realistic. It is realistic, yeah. Could Putin use nuclear weapon? Yes. But not for F16.
Because of what? What steps will motivate him to it?
When he will know that he lose his power.
Everything.
He lose his power in Russia.
Inside Russia.
Inside Russia, yeah. It is the only reason. Because to lose now they lost 500,000 people in this war. Could Putin afford to himself to lose some additional 2 million or 5 million? Yes. Yes, there's no problem.
10 million.
They lost half of their budget. Could they lose more? Yes, no problem.
They lost
their biggest company, Gazprom, which now has no profit, absolutely no profit, and loses money each year, each month.
Each half a year.
Huh?
Even each half a year, more than 480,000 million dollars Gazprom has lost during this half a year. You know, $1.5 million.
But if we come back in 15 years, in 2008, Gazprom, now nobody in the world remember the name Gazprom. But in 2008, Gazprom was the third company in the world by capitalization. After something like Shell and British Petroleum, it was Gazprom. I don't remember exactly who were in first and second place, but some oil and gas companies. Now Gazprom in 500, place number 500 or 1,000, something like that. So they lost absolutely. They lost their economy, they lost their gas and oil industry. And Putin is ready for that. But if he will lose his power inside Russia, or his family will lose its power, if this is the only case, then he can use atomic bomb or nuclear bomb. So, in fact, they have no real threat to guarantee these red lines. Yeah, they have no guarantee for these red lines.
And it's difficult to believe, no, it's easy to believe that Putin again and again plays against himself. And Rostov-na-Don, it was Rostov-na-Donu, the name of submarine of Russian Navy, or let's call it better flotilla, undersea flotilla. And now we see that again Rostov-na-Don at the bottom, deep bottom, it drowned, and we helped with pleasure. We can help. 30% of Russian Navy is destroyed by our special forces. And can we say that this destruction of the Russian Navy also the remains of Putin's greatness? And how does it affect the perception of the Russian army and the world? How it shows Putin's army and its weakness of his navy?
Again, it is not in their focus of attention. This is in our focus of attention, because each our, let's say something like each our victory on Black Sea is big celebration in Kyiv, big celebration in all Ukraine. But in Russia, in Russian media, we're just not focused on this war. Yeah, so it is absolutely silent. So their army were not informed. I feel that. I feel it from all the information I receive. We have not a lot of information, by the way, from Russian soldiers or Russian officers, but we have something. Yeah, because we are not connected people. You know, in Ukraine, all of us are connected to internet somehow. All of us is heavy user of internet. I mean, also on the front line. And on front lines we have Starlink and we have everything. In Russia, they have a new law, by the way, the fresh law from Russian parliament, which ban to Russian soldiers and officers on front line to use any gadgets. So they are not any gadgets. So they are not connected to the work. So they're not connected to the news, and they don't know, for example, that we struck Russian submarine yesterday. They don't know. They will read it in the books after the war, but not now. Like, for example, it is the same situation was on World War II. When in American press, American newspapers, British newspapers, they were daily report about how we have casualties, how we lost people, for example, and how many enemy lost people. But in Russia, now, nobody knows, and in some decades after the war, suddenly some books will appear with these huge numbers. If you ask on the street of Moscow, how many people our army, I mean the Russian army, lost during this war, I believe that the medium answer will be 1,000 or 2,000.
Really?
Not half. Yeah, really.
They are happy or they are stupid?
Yeah. They are happy and stupid simultaneously, yeah.
Yes, it's awful. It's like nightmare, but it's their reality, and they deserve it, really, because they keep silence too, and they don't do anything against Putin, and they live. And I don't believe in any protests in Russia, never, And we discussed such question in our other interviews, Michael. And one more question.
Yeah, but never say never. Never say never.
Do you think so?
It changes. We can't say it never will be different. Now it is in this state, but I remember Soviet state of mind of people in, let's say, 1986, 87. I lived in Soviet Union in 1986, 87. Nobody believed Soviet Union will collapse. Nobody. In 1991, in June, I left Soviet Union. I emigrated from Soviet Union to Israel. Like, I went to 3 wars, and I knew that I never could come back because it was very closed country, Soviet Union. There was no chance to come back. And in half a year, there was no Soviet Union. So
Yes.
believe me, it will be the same with Russia. The same situation will happen with Russian Federation.
It may be our next topic next week, and wider we will discuss it, I hope. And one theme, one topic we have today, because I announced it, and we just talk about it a few minutes. Trump loses lead over Harris. We see it in CBS news poll. I understand that it is not very representative, and we see nowadays a lot such polls and sociological surveys in USA, but we see that according to this CBS news poll, Kamala Harris has more support, and the representative from the Democrats was ahead of the ex-president, which wants to be next president, by 1%, 50% against 49%. So how can we estimate this fresh sociological, and what we can say about this account?
Okay, we can say that this campaign, this race is tie. Really, it is tie, and we don't know nothing, and it just started now. Just starting now, because last 2 weeks. Then it was 2 weeks, when Mr. Biden went out of campaign. So we had something like 6 or 7 big polls, and the difference was 1%, 2%. So this is a statistic mistake. And in key states, it is the same. Then when we take just 7 key states, last week there was a poll by Bloomberg agency, and also we saw like 1% edge for Kamala Harris. So it is almost the tie. So now, in the situation when everything depends on campaigns. Mr. Trump started his campaign, because he started his campaign against Mr. Biden.
Yes.
And he used a lot of messages against Biden. And Kamala Harris, she didn't start. So she has some privilege, because she have like empty page now. And another privilege by Kamala Harris is enthusiasm. I read a lot of American newspapers, and the key word now is enthusiastic. Enthusiastic by Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is an enthusiastic person, and a lot of voters, Democratic voters and independent voters, were enthusiastic about Kamala Harris, because it is something new. It is something new. You can't be enthusiastic about Donald Trump. You can believe in or trust Mr. Trump, yes, but not to be enthusiastic when you watch the same series during 10 years, from 2016. But a lot of people now, a lot of voters were enthusiastic about Kamala Harris. But it is just the moment. Okay, when we started from the beginning, and they have 3 months, and it will be very great show, the best show in the world. What I will say.
And will it be very hot show?
Yes, sure. Yes, sure. We see how it started. It started from debate place, for example, when Mrs. Harris says, okay, debate, we have a debate on ABC, because it was concluded that we have a debate on ABC, but Mr. Trump says, no. It was concluded with Mr. Biden, not with you. And my offer is now Fox News. No, I don't go to Fox News. So let's see how it will be,
Yes, even this topic. And Kamala Harris said that she will take part by alone in ABC News, and she will talk with her elections and so. Yes. So, okay, we'll see. We have a lot of items to discuss in future, because everything only starts how we can understand. Today, I say you, Michael, thank you very much for your time, for your analytic thoughts, and for your professional answers to my questions. Thank you. I will be glad to see you next week, I suppose.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you.
Goodbye. Thank you very much. Michael Sheitelman was with me, Irina Uzlova, and Michael Sheitelman is political strategist, and I am a TV host of our YouTube channel. Thank you guys for your attention, for your time. Your subscribing will be very necessary and important for us, so I say thank you for it too. Let's believe in our forces, and Ukraine will win without any doubts.